Number 10. Rejected. Kind of. This one comes from JLA issue number 90 from the 1997 series. Here, Wonder Woman and Batman eventually share a kiss, which prompts Diana to look inside herself and see how she really feels about Bruce and the potential for a relationship with him. After looking deep within her subconscious by using the trans-consciousness articulator, try saying that 5 times fast, Diana decides it would be best if she and Bruce didn't actually end up together. She tells him as much, just as he seems to be ready to say the same. Although he also makes quite the face when she asks him if he felt being with her was worth risking all they already had as friends. And while Bruce seems to say that he agrees with Diana wholeheartedly, his face and the parentheses in his speech bubble seem to imply otherwise to me. All in all, I think both of these two ended up a little bit embarrassed by the whole ordeal, so it's a bit of a two-way street with this one. Batman's embarrassed, Diana's a little embarrassed. Number 9. Exposed a critical weakness. This one comes to us from one of the short stories included in the Wonder Woman 80th Anniversary 100-page Super Spectacular. The story is titled Dreamers, and it features a younger Diana who ends up, even as a kid, exposing a critical weakness in the Amazon's defenses for Doom's doorway. She ends up sneaking into the area with the help of Theo the shark, so great, hoping to get a better understanding of secrets and responsibilities she'll inherit when she becomes queen. By the way, in case you forgot, Diana can communicate with animals in marine life. She can talk to Theo. She's basically like a more bad Disney princess. Successfully sneaking into the area, Diana comes across Nubia, who is tasked with guarding the doorway, and reprimands Diana for sneaking in. Though she also seems a little bit impressed that Diana, being so young, was able to poke holes in the defenses of her much older and experienced sisters. Fortunately, Nubia's like, don't worry, I won't tell your mom, but I will have to tell her that hey, there's a hole here. We need to fix that. We need to tell these sharks to keep their mouths shut. Number 8. Defeat 'em to beat 'em. You know how we've mentioned the time that Batman incapacitated inadvertently the whole Justice League thanks to his contingency plans being stolen and then used by Ra's al Ghul? Well, he isn't the only one to defeat the Justice League. In fact, Wonder Woman defeated the Justice League without the interference or influence of anyone else. She did it single-handedly, and instead of it being a betrayal, it was actually to try and protect the League. However, the realization that Wonder Woman could take them all out so easily was likely pretty embarrassing when they came to afterwards. This all happened in League of One, where Diana defeated the League in order to protect them against a prophecy. You see, they had to go up against a dragon, but it was supposed to be the League's fate to both succeed in defeating the dragon, but also die in the process of winning that battle. To spare the rest of her friends and teammates, Diana beat them so that she could face the dragon alone and hopefully be the only one to both defeat it and possibly die in the process. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this list and you want to show us some love in some other places here on the internet, head on over to our Facebook page, click that like, click that follow, and it really does help us out here at the channel, so thanks for doing that.
Number 7. Green Arrow. Green Arrow and Batman have had a few scuffles before, and on the last list, we learned he isn't even considered a threat by Batman, really. Things kinda get taken to another level though, in Superman Batman issue 14 in 2005, Pretenders to the Throne. Batman and Superman have become villains and rule over the country. Batman brings Superman to Green Arrow as a sick, twisted birthday present so they can pummel him together. Green Lantern actually gets Supes with a kryptonite arrow, which seems to only make Batman more angry, and after a hit with the bow, he completely lays into Green Arrow. That is, until Superman completely disintegrates him with his heat vision. Yikes. You know, maybe this is more sadistic than embarrassing. Number 6. Spawn. In 1994, Spawn was a powerhouse of money making. Now take that character and stick him in a comic with arguably one of the most popular characters ever, Batman, and you've got an instant success. While it may have been over the top ridiculously violent, it's still an awesome comic. As we said before, any team up has to have a little scuffle between the two main heroes, and this was one hell of a scuffle. It was brutal and violent. While it may have ended in a draw, during the fight, Batman actually ended up stabbing Spawn in the face with a batarang. The scar from this attack made its way into mainline Spawn comics, while Batman walked away without as much as a scratch. Fight Batman, and he'll give you a scar even your fans have to remember. Number 5. The Justice League. In Justice League Doom, the animated movie, Batman is being scolded by the other members of the Justice League for having contingencies to immobilize each member of the League. They are deciding if they should make him leave the Justice League for this. Batman just kinda helps them decide. If you people can't see the potential danger of an out of control Justice League, I don't need to wait for a vote. I don't belong here. and he just walks out of there. Superman goes to him and asks what his contingency for Batman himself was, and he says, the Justice League. As someone on Reddit said, Batman is 100% right in this fight. Batman quit on his own terms, Batman built the Justice League's watchtower and has a deep understanding of how it works, and Batman left the watchtower to them, despite having designed, funded, and built it. Number 4. The Flash. The Justice League animated TV show in 2001. After the somewhat newly formed Justice League become fugitives, running and hiding from the Thanagarian troops, they take shelter in a department store. They come up with the solution of trading in their superhero costumes for regular street clothes to disguise themselves. This is when Flash pipes up, trying to voice his opinion about the whole secret identity thing. Batman cuts him off, walking right up to him, pointing at each member who has a secret identity, and straight up just saying their real names. Clark Kent, Wally West, Bruce Wayne. Yeah, shut up, Flash!
Number 3. Poking eyes and breaking arms. In Injustice Gods Among Us Year 4, there is a brutal showdown between Superman and Wonder Woman that is basically orchestrated by Batman. The two face off in a trial by combat style fight in order to settle a dispute, with Wonder Woman being forced to fight as she was nominated by Batman, even though she and Supes are kinda still technically on the same side here. However, this just means that in the end, Diana is able to use Clark's hesitancy to her advantage. She not only defeats Clark, but she does so brutally. At first it seems as though he'll come out victorious, but the fight ends with Diana clearly on top, attempting to gouge out his eyes before succeeding in breaking his arm. Youch. It's not easy to break a Kryptonian's arm, by the way. That is a lot. Number 2. Defeated by love? That's right, Wonder Woman actually defeated someone with basically just the power of love. Although I suppose I shouldn't say like just the power of love. After all, love is kinda Wonder Woman's biggest ideal, I'd say, and it also is extremely powerful if you know how to use it. Case in point, when Diana went up against a villainous Donna Troy. Donna seemingly had the upper hand in the fight, claiming to be the more powerful of the two, designed to be a more perfect version of Diana when Wonder Woman decided to bust out one of her most effective weapons, the lasso of truth, which unlike Ghost Rider's pen and stare, almost always actually works on the folks that she targets it with. I know there's gonna be Ghost Rider fans coming for me in the comments. They're gonna be like, look, the pen and stare is great, but I'm just saying, I can give you so many examples of times it didn't work. I think it's almost equal, it's like a 1-for-1. Compelled to see and realize the truth, Diana reminded Donna of what it really meant to be an Amazon. It's not about power, you see, or strength, it's about being part of a culture, being part of a family, being a sister. That is the most important defining word of Amazonian culture. Sister. And with that one word and realization, Diana handily defeats her sister Donna using nothing but truth and love. Number 1. The truth comes out. One of the most memed Power Girl and Wonder Woman moments comes from the 2007 The Brave and the Bold series in issue number 7. While many people have spun this series of panels with their own reason for why Kara is so shocked at her answer to Wonder Woman's question, changing up just what that answer is, the real dialogue sees Kara handing back Wonder Woman's lasso of truth and while passing it over to her, answering Diana's question of, where she's off to next. Power Girl responds in the comic that she's off to go kill Superman, shocking both herself and Diana, and leaving her super embarrassed while Diana is convinced that something must be wrong with Power Girl. Perhaps she's brainwashed or she's possessed, as the lasso obviously compels those it touches to only tell the truth. So, I mean, she's gotta be telling the truth. Wow, what an embarrassing way to realize that that's going on.
Number 10. Lex Luthor. Imagine your long-distance son, who you were finally gaining ground with, is killed by a giant 7-foot clone of himself. And then his psycho grandpa steals his body and puts it in a sarcophagus alongside a chaos crystal, which leads to the villains from Apocalypse coming and fighting you for it. Now, imagine your friends show up and start intervening, unintentionally blocking you from stopping the villains from stealing your son's body. How absolutely fuming might you be? That's kinda hard to imagine, isn't it? Well, basically, after the Shazam and Justice League aligned Lex Luthor tried justifying this, Batman lets both of them know why they should keep their mouths shut and not insert themselves into conflicts they know nothing about. Batman gets 3 good punches across Shazam's face, leaving him shocked and embarrassed, and then knocks Lex Luthor on his butt with a nice stiff punch, hurting his ego and his face. Number 9. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. As with almost all comics that take heroes from 2 different universes and throw them together, those heroes have to fight at least a little bit before they can join forces. It's just tradition at this point. So, of course, in 2016, when we see Batman team up with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a little scuffle has to take place. Oh, also, if you thought this kind of team up would be silly, yeah, maybe. But it's totally awesome. In their scuffle in the second issue of the comic, Batman basically makes them look like amateurs. They end up hitting each other, being stunned by the Batmobile, having their weapons taken and used against them. Michelangelo starts to get some kind of conversation going before Splinter shows up and splinters the fight. It is super cool, and so is this comic. Give it a read. Cowabunga, dude. Hey there, nerds. Did you know that every time you hit that like and subscribe button, my appreciation of you grows by 4? 4 what? I don't know. I just work here. Anyways, keep whacking those buttons for more spicy content. Number 8, Nightwing. You know, I think Batman needs to kind of ease up on just punching people instead of talking. Sure, it gets stuff done, but then you end up crying at the Oscars while accepting your Best Actor award, so... When Batman first comes into contact with the Court of Owls, the members have special seals hidden in their mouths. The first Robin, now going by Nightwing, could possibly be one of them, as his great-grandfather is. So, how does Batman figure out if his old partner, longtime friend, and member of the Bat family is still loyal? Well, after a bit of lip from Dick Grayson, Batman punches Nightwing right in the mouth and knocks out his tooth to check. He was supposed to be a Talon of the Court of Owls, but he clearly isn't. Remind me never to become a Robin, okay? Number 7, Green Lantern. First off, Justice League War is an awesome animated DC movie. We see the Justice League come together for the first time. In one of the first interactions between Green Lantern and Batman in a sewer, there's a bit of banter between Hal and Bruce when Hal realizes that Batman is literally just some guy in a bat costume. And he asks, "What, no one asked you to prom, so now you just dress as a bat and prowl around your parents' basement?" Batman, in response, simply just pauses and then asks, "What's this do?" as he holds up the Green Lantern's ring. It makes me genuinely chuckle. But then, when Green Lantern tries to tell him that he won't be able to do that again, Batman just hits him with, "Unless I want to." What a boss. Number 6, Green Lantern again. In All-Star Batman and Robin, the Boy Wonder, Green Lantern gets shown up. In order to face Hal Jordan, Batman lures him into a room where he has painted literally everything yellow. Why? The Green Lantern ring has the unfortunate weakness of not being able to affect anything yellow. So all the furniture, his and Robin's costumes, even their faces, and to top it all off, he even taunts Green Lantern while drinking lemonade. To really top it off, Batman isn't even the one to fight the Lantern. He leaves that to his ward, Robin, who admittedly takes it a bit too far. Number 5. Okay, one last Green Lantern defeat. Now, before you jump on me for including 3 times he's embarrassed the Green Lantern, you should know that 1, I don't even like Green Lantern that much, and 2, this time it was Guy Gardner, who is arguably the most annoying one. In 1987's Justice League number 5, or Justice League International number 5, Guy Gardner is his usual cocky, jerkish self. And a conflict between him and Batman has been brewing for a few issues, with Guy just kind of being a huge pain in the butt. But when Guy finally rears back to throw his punch, the Dark Knight is in there so fast, punching this guy so hard he knocks him clean out. And then him and the rest of the league leave him on the floor while they continue planning and even go on missions. Then, he doesn't even come to until like 2 issues later, when he just accidentally knocks himself back out. Number 4, Punisher. Punisher/Batman Deadly Nights is a very short-lived confrontation between these two heroes occurs when Batman stops Punisher from killing the Joker, which, as we know, goes against Batman's ideology. He interrupts the Punisher, coming in between him and his gun, and telling the Joker to run. In his frustration, Punisher drops his pistol and gets one mean punch in across Batman's face. Just the one though, as Batman lets him know he will only allow that one. Seeing how the Punisher probably thinks Bruce deserves it, it really gets embarrassing when Mr. Castle goes for a second swing and Batman redirects the punch in one move, sending the Punisher face first into a pile of boxes stacked up against a brick wall. When Batman tells you only get one, you best believe him. Number 3, Aquaman. Okay, look, Aquaman does have some serious power, and in recent years, he's gotten a hell of a lot better. Partially thanks to Jason Momoa. But this story, well, it really doesn't make him look good. In Legends of the DC Universe number 27, the Joker goes to Atlantis and convinces everyone there, including Aquaman, that he is the king of the land. Aquaman even admits he's heard of Joker before from Batman, but that he just doesn't pay attention. Aquaman goes to the surface where he suddenly has trouble walking, can't figure out how to contact Batman, and he gets pepper sprayed. Then, Batman shows up and says no to helping Aquaman, so Aquaman attacks him. This gives us a full 3-page spread of Batman completely beating the gills off of Aquaman. Which is even more embarrassing when you realize Aquaman has actual powers. Number 2, Martian Manhunter. Okay, this is a short little moment, but it shows us a side to Bruce Wayne I don't think any of us knew existed. In JLA issue number 27 in 1999, there is a single page. Bruce Wayne is meeting with Clark Kent and a mystery woman who Clark introduces as Hino Ray, and she greets Bruce. In the very next panel, we find out that this woman is actually John Johns, the Martian Manhunter, in disguise. How? Well, Batman says that while the accent was flawless, the name was a dead giveaway. Now this may fly right over your head, it did for me at first, but Ray Hino is the name of Sailor Mars from Sailor Moon. That means that Batman, Bruce Wayne, billionaire and mass detective vigilante who has mortally wounded characters like Darkseid and beats criminals to a pulp with his bare hands, watches Sailor Moon. So does Martian Manhunter for that fact. Is it embarrassing? Up to you, but what? Number 1, Judge Dredd. In the Batman vs. Judge Dredd comic that ended up putting Batman in the world of 2000 AD's most famous character, Judge Dredd, Batman is arrested and taken to the Hall of Justice for being a vigilante and carrying around all the tech and weaponry that Batman does. Judge Dredd refuses to ally with Bruce to fight Judge Death, who is going to Gotham and will kill everyone there and on that Earth, saying that 1, he is going to put Bruce away for 20 years for his crimes, and 2, that Gotham is out of their jurisdiction. Bruce loses it and busts out of his bonds and starts to wail on the judge. Assaulting a judge? That's 10 years in prison. Make it 20, Bruce yells as he kicks Dredd in the face. Number 10, Cyborg. In Injustice Gods Among Us number 15, Cyborg, Wonder Woman, and Superman go to Arkham Asylum to move its prisoners to Superman's quote-unquote secure facility. Cyborg takes control of the asylum security and begins opening cell doors for Flash to whisk away the prisoners inside. When he is about to open the Riddler's cell, Batman gives him a little warning not to, which Cyborg ignores. All it takes is one button on Batman's utility belt and Cyborg's systems go haywire. He falls to the ground, writhing in pain, until Nightwing steps in and presses the button again. It turns out that after Cyborg checks the date of the virus that caused this, Batman had uploaded the virus the very first day the two met, and he's had it the whole time. An easy little button press and he takes down an extremely advanced Cyborg. Number 9, Green Arrow. In the Deceased storyline, when an anti-life virus is spreading throughout the globe and infects Superman, Damian Wayne, the Batman at the time, gets access to Bruce's files around taking down the Justice League. The funniest and most embarrassing thing though is that when Green Arrow assumes there's a file with his name on it, Damian informs him that there isn't. Batman didn't have a single file for Green Arrow. He didn't even see Green Arrow as a real threat. Bruce is dishing out the embarrassments even beyond the grave. But Green Arrow could be a planetary threat if he wanted to. Wait a minute, you know what would be really embarrassing? If you didn't like and subscribe to our channel. Kidding, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Number 8, the Hulk. Bet you didn't expect to see this on the list. Honestly, who would? I know who. Anyone who knows that Batman is Batman, that's who. In 1981's DC Special Series number 27, Batman comes upon the rampaging Green Rage monster. The Joker had tricked Hulk into believing Batman was an enemy. The Hulk ended up getting the Dark Knight in a bear hug, where he almost broke the Bat's back. Batman busts out of it and uses a knockout gas. But Hulk ain't that dumb, and he just holds his breath. Until Batman kicks him straight in the stomach, winding the Green Giant and causing him to breathe in. Yeah, it's probably unrealistic as hell, but it's a man that fights criminals in a bat suit fighting a guy that turns into a giant green monster because of gamma rays from a bomb. So tell me how that's realistic.
Number 7, cheaters never prosper. This was like a whole thing where I feel like everyone was kind of embarrassed. Like pretty much everyone involved I feel like was embarrassed in this one. I know I was embarrassed watching this happen. Oof. We are talking about when in the DCEU in Wonder Woman 1984, Diana competes in an Amazonian triathlon against the other Amazons, despite being very much their junior. The princess is hopeful that she can win the competition despite her lack of experience and her youth in comparison to her sisters. However, when she loses her horse, she has to get resourceful in order to catch back up and ends up taking a shortcut to do so. However, apparently it turns out that this is cheating, and so her perceived victory is considered null and void by her mother, the hero, Queen Hippolyta, who also seems pretty disappointed, but still hopeful when it comes to her daughter's attempt. She's like, look, you can't cheat, but maybe next time. Maybe you get him next time. Don't take shortcuts. I was like embarrassed because I was like, really? That was cheating? Oh, okay. I would have done that too. I'm with you, Diana. Number 6, beats down a god with his own weapon. This one comes from Wonder Woman issue 773. Legacy numbering, where Wonder Woman takes on the god Thor. Not Marvel's Thor, who is very much a hero, but DC's Thor, who is still technically a hero, but also is kind of more of a brute than the Thor Odinson of Marvel's Earth 616. Wonder Woman ends up in DC's version of Asgard after the events of Dark Knight Death Metal. Here she learns that there seems to be a problem with souls going missing. She attempts to solve it, but ends up bonking heads with Thor, who isn't much for diplomacy. At least, not initially. Don't worry though, Diana puts him in his place, besting him in combat, taking Mjolnir, smashing him in the face with it before crushing it between her two hands. She's like, hammers, not really my thing. And of course, only then is Thor willing to listen to what she has to say. But don't worry, it all works out in the end. Everyone's able to sit at a table and have a discussion and a beer afterwards, so yay. Number 5, can't stop killing. It's hard to tell who would be more embarrassed in this scenario, Wonder Woman or all of her friends who try to reach out to her and really epically fail. This all goes down in a dark multiverse tale, a darker version of War of the Gods. Here, Wonder Woman ends up losing her mother and in her darkness finds herself possessed and overtaken by Hecate, who uses Wonder Woman as her host to reach out and conquer Earth. Wonder Woman's friends try to stop Diana and reach her, but she's trapped deep within a pit of despair after having not properly dealt with her emotions, basically. Struggling to find her way back to love and hope, the only solution is for many magic users of DC to band together, sacrificing themselves in order to defeat Hecate, but still unable to bring back Diana. Whew. Zatanna, as a result, keeps Hecate in Diana's body locked away, hoping to one day find a cure for the possession so she can bring back her friend once more. Number 4, rejected. But for real this time. Real rejection. So this isn't rejection of the romantic sort, but it is the rejection of a kind of, like a team-up sort, I guess you could say. In Wonder Woman the Hecate, Bruce and Diana end up at odds with one another. As such, the two end up in a fight with one another. Wonder Woman handily ends up defeating Batman in that fight, placing her boot on his head as he lays in a puddle, and urges him to not get back up. Batman decides to surrender, which I think is a good choice. Instead of fighting back, Batman tries a new tactic and begs for Diana's mercy and protection. This shocks Wonder Woman as Batman clings to her boots. He calls on the age-old ritual and rites to seek her power and her aid. Wonder Woman, however, reminds Bruce of his history, saying that in times previous, heroic men have been denied, as she chooses to deny him now. Ouch. Looks like Batman needs to brush up on his reading of the Iliad, apparently.
Number 3. Justice Buster Armor. In the Endgame story, the Joker has twisted the other members of the Justice League with his Joker toxin, meaning we get to see Batman take them all on. While we know he has contingencies for each member of the League, Batman instead dons an armor that has the capability to subdue every member of the Justice League, the Justice Buster. Using this suit, he puts Wonder Woman in a dream state, maps out the Flash's movements, and causes him to slip and crash into a building, knocking him out. He fires a foam made up of magnesium carbonate at Aquaman that envelops him and drains him of the moisture in his body the more he struggles. And then, Superman shows up. The Justice Buster has plasma shields to deflect I-beams, thrusters and thermals to deter frost breath, but this is a Superman that isn't pulling his punches. When Superman gets through this armor, it doesn't matter though. Batman spits a polymer laced with green kryptonite dust into Superman's eyes, rendering him powerless. Number 2, beating Superman as an old man. In the exceedingly famous Dark Knight Returns story, we see what is arguably one of the best Superman vs. Batman fights to ever grace comics. In the last issue, number 4, pits an aged Bruce Wayne against a Superman that has become a puppet of the government. Superman has been weakened by a nuclear explosion. He's been hit by Hunter missiles, shot from a tank, shot with a sonic gun that makes his nose bleed. Batman uses every watt of the city's power to electrocute Superman's brain. Batman then socks Superman straight across the face a few times, shoots acid in his face, and after being hit with a green kryptonite arrow, Superman takes a studded boot to the jaw before Batman seemingly dies of a heart attack. Even at 55, he left Superman battered and bleeding, and the whole thing was just a ruse. Well played. Number 1. He put all the other heroes to shame. Of all the insanely powered heroes in the DC universe, Batman is the last person you or I think could pose a threat to Darkseid. So it's kind of embarrassing for every other hero that has lost to Darkseid when in the final Crisis event, Bruce Wayne simply shoots Darkseid with a radion bullet, killing him, just like that. Yeah, he had the element of surprise because not a single soul thought he could pull off anything like that. Not even Superman could defeat Darkseid here. What makes it better is that it's not the only time he has beaten the God of Death. That's why you don't underestimate Batman, y'all.